I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. She said you're ready. Yeah.
Okay.
We're on TV.
All right, good evening, everybody. The council meeting was already called to order at 7 p.m. The council went into closed session. We are now out, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Kern?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Laura, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Koch,
Here.
Mr. Carnival,
Here.
Mr. Staff,
Here.
Mr. Tashian,
Here.
yes. Mr. Kern,
Here.
Mr. Gallo.
Yeah, here.
Mrs. Hare is not here this evening.
Thank you. Discussion items. First on the list, Special Law Enforcement Officer update. Councilman Staff?
Yes. Oops. Thank you, Mayor. We will be proposing tonight a resolution authorizing a special law enforcement officer for consideration at the Riverdale High School. The person is moving through the process, and we look forward to having him in place at the beginning of the school year.
Questions from the council? Everybody's all good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next item, recognition planning, Hesley Rivera. So our hometown gymnast here struck it gold on her first outing at the Olympics as a member of Team USA's women gymnastics. I've been asked by a number of people from Oradell and beyond if the town was going to undertake some kind of a recognition or celebration. So I wanted to have a talk about it with the council and see what thoughts were, whether or not we should do something of that nature. It could take shape of many things, some kind of a ceremony, a parade, tie it into one of our larger events. I'm sure if we did do something, there are people from beyond Oradell's borders that would be attending this. So this is something that would require planning and coordination. But, you know, in order to do something like this, it'd probably be best to invite the person we want to recognize, if that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get a sense of the council as to whether or not we wanted to do something like this for this young lady to mark her accomplishment. It certainly adds a first in our books as the first gold medal Olympian from Oradell. And if we do, we can, communicate with her family and invite them for something that we can put an ad hoc committee together to then plan. Nothing on my mind about when specifically this should be done timing-wise, what exactly should be done. I have had offers from mayors of River Edge and New Milford that would love to participate as well if the council wanted to undertake this kind of a recognition effort. I'll open the floor for any discussion on this.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to celebrate our Olympian, as long as it's contingent upon her coming over here and taking part in the ceremony.
So we shouldn't fly everybody to Texas. Anybody else on the council?
No, I think it's a good idea. I think that I think we have to put some thought into it. I think we should be quite purposeful in our decisions and what we do and what we bring forward. But I do think it was an amazing Olympics. She did fantastic. At 16 years old, I mean that's incredible, and I think it's a great idea. So fully supportive of it. So I think it's great to probably form a committee and to get some thoughts together and then come back at a later time.
Yeah, the only thing I would just, I guess, add is I did attend the July 30th watch party at OPS. And although Hesley did not participate in that particular competition, there was a lot of excitement in the room for those families that did attend. Certainly a lot of interest and a lot of spirit. And Megan Bozios was there. She was interviewed by the media. So, while people were disappointed that Hesley did not or was unable to perform, they were certainly excited. So I think there is definitely an underlying support within the town. And I think, Mayor, I'm going to suggest that we bring this up maybe more in a kind of uncycled or unscheduled meeting with the Special Events Committee, just to potentially have some ideas that we could bring back to the council. So that we could potentially offer or extend an offer to Ms. Rivera.
So, good idea. I'm going to name an ad hoc committee that will comprise a representative of the council, members of the Special Events Committee, not all, but some, and we can caucus on that, as well as some of our staff that would be instrumental in planning or evaluating what we might plan to do. And I would like to come back to the council at our next regularly scheduled council meeting with a proposal for us to consider, and at that time request the council's authorization to enact it or enact it as amended and reach out to her and her family and make that offer. I think it's something that would be very special to them. My wife Sam's been in contact with her father back and forth throughout this. Really great guy. He's all about his daughter, supportive of her success, and they loved Oradell for the time that they were here. He travels back here quite often to play basketball with his friends, and I think they would probably be very excited at an opportunity like this. So,
Great.
one of only 2 Olympic medalists from Bergen County, Scotty Scheffler being the other, formerly of Ridgewood. Okay. Councilman Kern, next item is yours. Leaf blower ban legislation.
From what I read, the state is looking. I think this is a bill in committee. I'm not sure exactly what's the status right now, but they are looking again to start to ban gas leaf blowers, or give some sort of 50% credit to going electric. Now I do have an electric leaf blower. There are definitely some good benefits to that. The batteries are expensive, but you don't have to rev it up and it not working in the middle of the winter time or whenever you need it. But Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to have a total ban statewide. I mean, electric, leaf blowers, they're still not at the point where, they're efficient enough as gas leaf blowers are. So I think this is a little bit too premature of the state legislator to do. And I would ask for maybe the council considering a resolution against a total ban on leaf blowers for the state. Gas leaf blowers, that is.
Since it's in committee right now, maybe a good start would be if the council would like a letter to come from me to the committee chair, basically saying that, we think that this may be a good initiative at a point in time when the technology supports the sustainability of it. But at this time, it's another mandate we're throwing on people to tell them how to do something. And, we would be disappointed to see something like this advance.
Yeah.
Something less than a resolution, but communicates our thought on the matter.
Yeah, totally agree. I think as far as the market, the free market, if it happens and people really start taking on these electric leaf blowers, makes sense. But right now, we're not at that time. So I agree with you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, John. Laura, I think the next one's yours, 2025
Sure.
municipal calendar theme.
So although it's only August, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that happens to get the calendar ready for next year. The first item is to pick a theme. This time of year is when a theme is selected, and then I can forward the topic and all the forms over to OPS. And as you may recall, we received a letter from a student in town from St. Joseph's School and realized that, there are elementary school students as well. So the memo would be going to both schools this year with the topic and the timeline of when the drawings would be picked up and selected so that we would be ready for print. The memo I submitted to you is my best recollection. I could only go back to 2015 of the themes, so you can see what we've done. Starting in 2018, we started doing the drawings, submittals from the children, which we actually won an award from the New Jersey State League of Municipalities back then for that. We did switch back to photos the next year, but then since 2020, it has been always the drawings from the elementary students. So I usually brainstorm and pose, a suggestion to the council, but whatever the council would like to come up with is, if you can just give me direction. My suggestion, given looking back at what we've done in the past, the borough will be working in 2025 to recertify the silver level, which we've achieved now, I think, for 2 cycles or the last cycle for Sustainable Jersey. All the action items for recertification have to happen prior to 2026, which is when we would receive it. And the borough would be able to submit a copy of the calendar for points if the topic or the theme I suggest is chosen. I suggest we call it Green Oradell and hone in on recycling awareness. It's always best if I can provide categories for the children to select from. This way there's a range of drawings as opposed to multiple drawings of a recycling container or something of that matter. Suggested categories, I was just looking online and looking at some others of reduce food waste, reuse, reclaim water, reduce by reusing, and any other categories if you can think of. In my search, I actually also found a website where drawings can be, if they're simple enough, can be turned into a coloring book page. And perhaps a unique aspect of this calendar is once we select all the pictures, we can actually upload that to that website and create a coloring book that we could either give away at future events or sell for a nominal amount for special events or for fireworks, et cetera. And I think that would be a great example of reusing something that we're creating. So with that, I just was looking for some feedback on the council.
How do you make the calendar, the coloring book? Sorry.
So
Thank
we
you.
were thinking of that. The only issue is each page it would be hard to, I could look at the website to see if they could do that, because there's text on the bottom of the calendar, only the
Yeah,
top.
so they can
Yeah.
draw and stay in the calendar, but this way there's no submissions.
Right.
So it takes away a whole level of that. It allows any kid to participate with it. And
We would just need the drawings in order to convert into,
I would imagine you can find some
Yeah.
recycling themes.
yeah.
Roger's going to do it. He'll give you the outlines to color.
I can never stay between the lines. That's the problem. But conceptually, I think it actually makes your life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And I imagine if you Googled, environmental coloring books, you could come up with 12 ideas.
Yeah. Any other?
I just have one comment.
Yeah.
I know we're going to extend it out to Oradell Public and St. Joe's.
So that's if we do the drawing submittals. If
Right.
Yeah.
I think I would also ask, there are some households here that also the kids not go to those two schools.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we extend it out to any children within the grades
the
of,
K to 6.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
and then that way it's just being inclusive to some of the kids that might not go to either of those schools.
So, I guess the first question is, did you want to do the children's submittals or something that Roger was? I mean, I applaud the, it would be easier on my end, but I do get a lot of feedback from the kids that are excited that their pictures are
that.
picked. Sometimes I get phone calls from, parents asking for an extra copy to send to grandparents far away. So it's really up to you guys. So as long as we stay within the time frame, it's really not too much of an issue to get them back in time. But I mean, what we could do is ask for black and white pictures instead of color, and then do what you're saying is take the children's submittals and turn them into the coloring book, so that anybody can color in those pictures, something to that effect. It's like the best of both worlds.
I just feel like making it a coloring will give it some longevity. Parents will keep it, and it might stay around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we put our thinking caps on between now and Friday? We can get back to Laura with any further comments or feedback that can help her finalize what we're going to do. I think that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Does that work for you, Laura?
Yeah, it's fine. Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Old business. Roger, is this you? Little library?
Sorry.
Who put that
It is
on
not.
here?
I think it was.
It's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the watch party, Catherine Norian, who's president of the Oradell Rotary, had asked me the status of the little library that the Rotary had donated that I believe was part of, that was approved by the previous council last year. She has it in her garage and she would love to install it. And because we are in the process of having the train station being looked at to be renovated, I was proposing to the council that we temporarily have the library installed over by the benches that's essentially across from the tracks of the library, have that installed there, and then when the work is completed at the train station, that then we would find a permanent home for it. So she was just asking, the timetable that we could potentially do something.
When you say across the tracks, where do you mean?
The 3 benches with the planters, there's that where the scouts did the project.
Yeah.
It's to install it over there, put it there for now, because we don't know what's going to be done from a renovation or building for the train station. Otherwise, it's going to have to be moved.
The only thing with that location is that's county property. You got to get permission from the county to do it.
Okay.
So I
So-
believe there's an agreement that was done after the project with the county, through county council to solidify that project. And perhaps I could draft a letter for the mayor to send off to the county to see if we could amend that agreement
Okay.
with some of those provisions, see what they say. Or maybe,
Or is there somewhere else in the immediate proximity of the train station on the same side that you would want to locate it?
Yeah, I don't have an. I was just proposing that first initial location.
Right.
If we think the county is going to be an issue with it, then maybe we do it in front.
I don't think it's an issue. I think it's just time.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a time sink.
How about underneath the, like the overhang where cars pull through? Not on the building side, but between that grass.
That maple in the grass area.
Yeah, because this way it'd actually be protected by the overhang, and the idea is commuters want it.
Yeah,
whereas-
grab a book.
Better in the winter months, too.
Yeah.
You seem to have a good handle on this, Councilman Go. I think the council might be very trusty of leaving this in your hands to work out with Ms. Norian.
I'm very excited about the opportunity, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Taken care of.
Thanks,
Thank
Roger.
you.
I was throwing an idea out for you.
I might call you in to help out at the end. How's that?
Anybody have new business?
Yes, Mayor. I understand that the architectural firm did a tour of the train station. I just wanted to know if we have any updates on what transpired.
Not yet.
Are they going to be providing a initial report, and if so, has there been a timing on that?
Oh my God.
Mr. Carnival, they're going by stages. So they just sent their first team in, and so I'm expecting a report.
Excellent.
Can we ask them for a schedule, Ed, that they're going to conduct their activities over?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, I don't know if you wanted me to bring it up now, but that issue about retaining special counsel.
Sure.
Since the last meeting, just about a week and a half ago, the borough was served with a complaint. It's 445 Kinderkamak LLC versus Oradell, essentially claiming that they're entitled to a builder's remedy. And my recommendation would be to retain our special land use counsel, Sereni and Buzak, who actually handled the prior litigation that relates to this. So they have the information and the background on it. So whether it's on the consent agenda or at whatever time you want to deem appropriate, I would just ask for a motion to authorize them to file the answer and defend the borough on that matter.
Okay, I think we can verbally add resolution 24-208 authorizing Sereni and Buzak, who is our special land use counsel, to take this complaint and respond to it on behalf of the borough. Would anybody have an objection to that?
No.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to fit this in. So I'm going to use this opportunity to invite former Councilman Janice Selly's daughter up to talk about her Silver Award, project. Normally we do the presentations in the beginning of the meeting, but she was able to come in tonight and do this, so we're going to handle this under new business. The floor is all yours. Come on, Rob, you got to help him out. It's okay, we don't bite.
Okay. My name is Maggie Janicelli. And I'm Olivia McKelvey. We are currently working on our Silver Award project in Girl Scout Troop 6950. The project we have selected is to collect donations of personal hygiene for the Care Corner at St. Joseph Church.
The Care Corner distributes these personal hygiene products to individuals and organizations in and around our community. We are asking for your permission tonight to distribute flyers and asking permission to collect donations at the Borough Hall or Senior Center, or we would welcome other suggestions to ensure our project's success.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
I just have a quick question. Do you guys have a flyer, correct, that you can provide to us?
Yeah.
Because we can put it up on the website to bring awareness to it.
We also posted something on the Oradell residents
Good.
about it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Awesome.
thank you.
Best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other mediums that you're interested in?
Okay, I think we have the request.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other new business? Okay, if not, we're going to advance to public comment. However, I'm going to make a statement first. So I'm very much for public comment. We have it in the beginning of the meeting for the courtesy and convenience of the residents, so that if we're here for 3 hours, you're not stuck here for 3 hours with us in order to have public comment at the end of the meeting. But the purpose of this meeting is for us to move the business of the borough. We only meet twice a month. There are a number of things we have to discuss and approve, and we need to do that in an efficient and orderly fashion. So last meeting, we spent a lot of time in public comment where people exceeded their allotted 5 minutes. So what we're going to do going forward to ensure efficiency is your 5 minutes is your 5 minutes. You get 2 bites at the apple, one for the consent agenda, one for non-consent items, which is anything you want to talk about. It's your 5 minutes. You manage how you use it. We're not going to interrupt you. We're not going to have a back and forth. What I will say is that one of the disadvantages of having this in the beginning of the meeting is you don't have the advantage of hearing all of the council committee reports and things that may answer the questions you have. So what I would say is, it's fair game. Ask whatever questions you have. If it's something that can be addressed or answered tonight, I would ask the respective council people to do that under your report, and you can speak to that question and provide that answer. If it's something we have to follow up on, we can certainly acknowledge that and get the staff to get you whatever information it is you would like an answer to about. But for the purpose of conducting an efficient meeting so that we're not here later than we really need to be, we've got to manage the public portion efficiently. So what we're going to do is, just like I said, it's your 5 minutes to manage. Use it, don't use it. I am going to stop you at 5 minutes. And then we will address any issues that you need responses to under our council reports. So with that being said, I would ask for a motion to open the meeting for public comment for non-agenda items only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The podium is now available.
I think my notes are too long now. But anyway, it's Joanne Young, 671 East Drive. So last weekend, I had the joy of watching an old tape on OPTV. It was October 23rd, 2012. And on that tape, my husband spoke. So I watched the rerun 4 times, and it was interesting to me and sort of and inspiring. And so tonight, I would like to remind all of you about the Blauvelt. And there it is. It was saved, but there it is deteriorating. Anyway, if I could just take you through quickly the history of it, I'll try to make this faster, but built in 1896 to 1898 by Kimball Chase Atwood, and he was inspired to come here by Hugh Grant, who was a former mayor of New York. And with John B. Lozier, they became the modernizing pioneers of this town, bringing electricity, water, and telephones to the town. Anyway, in 1917, Atwood put the house up for sale because he had become the father of the pink grapefruit in Florida. And his neighbor Lozier bought it to try and make it a country club, and that didn't work out. So in 1922, he sold it to Elmer and Margaretta Blauvelt. And in In 1938, Elmer dies and leaves it in the hands of his son Hiram and Margaretta, his wife. Hiram dies at the age of 59, and so it is definitely in the hands of the Blauvelt Foundation, which was headed then by Jim Bellis, a man that I came to know very well. In 1962, Margaretta died, and the caregivers had been living on the property for 15 years. But by the late 70s, the Blauvelt Foundation, still headed up by Jim Bellis, was tired of the financial drain, and so he started to sell off the acres of land. And then by the late 70s, he had to put the mansion up for sale. And in the years that I knew him, he said it was the biggest regret in his whole life. Anyway, the price offered to the town was less than $200,000. And of course, the town did pass on that. In 1979, the Wells family buys it for $225,000 to run his architectural business. And in that time, from, until 2007, the architectural business did okay. But about that time, I think that the business had slowed down, and so they needed to have another way to make money. And so the Wells family, maybe just Jeff Wells, I'm not sure, had presented plans to have a catering hall. And of course, it was turned down by the zoning board or withdrawn, and the neighbors had started to complain too. I mean, they couldn't picture that. So in 2010, he had joined forces with Care One, and the plan was to build a huge nursing home on the front lawn. And of course, that was really would not make it for the historical committee. 50 seconds. But I just want to say to you, all those years went by, and the Bergen County said that they wanted to buy the mansion, but they couldn't do it until Betty Wells died. Well, 2 weeks ago, Betty Wells died. Now that leaves that property for sale, supposedly, and hopefully, maybe Bergen County is interested. And I want you to know that there were lots of opportunities for the town, and we even had a funder once, and the grant was returned. But please, this is the time to look at that project. And I'm moving away, so this is my farewell address. And I want to tell you that in memory of Paul Young and Jim Bellis and Professor Koshla, who offered to fund it for $1 million, even made an offer to Care One of $2.3 million, which was the appraised value, and they rejected it. So please, put that on your agenda and look at it. It's time to move on it. This is an important time. We can't lose it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joey.
Hi, my name is Neil Kelleher. I live at 292 Beechwood Road. I'm basically here because I'd like to know when blockages in the storm drain on Beechwood Road will be cleared. In August of 2022, I met with Mayor Didio and the town engineer and was told it would happen in October or November at the latest. IDA money would be used, and it would take a couple of months to go through the bidding process. My wife and I have been in our home for 25 years, and we've been worried about flooding for the last 5 years. You see, we had 2 catch basins in our backyard that handled the runoff for 20 years. No flooding from Hurricane Sandy or Eileen. After Ida destroyed our home, we had a tough time finding a solution to the flood risk. The building department consistently told us we were only allowed to keep the drains clean on our property, which we did. Seeking help, we met with the mayor and town engineer and learned it could be months before the blockages in the system were removed. To mitigate any further damage to property, Mayor Didio permitted us to remove the catch basins and enclose the pipes running through our yard. Since the backyard entrance to our home is maybe a foot or so below street level, we thought connecting the pipes would prevent water accumulating under the street from backflowing into our yard and entering our home. We're finding that we do need a means of draining the water that enters the backyard and would like to tap back into these pipes, but we're not comfortable doing so until blockages in the street pipes have been cleared. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Atsunis. The calendar that we have, the Oradell calendar, has mistakes on it. On Beverly Road, people put out their cardboard. They didn't collect it because it was the day to collect the cans and plastic. Then the next day, next week, it was in reverse. So everybody was piled up with stuff. Nobody reviewed the calendar and corrected the calendar. I think now that we're going to make this calendar, let's make it right. Let somebody go over it and make sure that everything is perfect. Okay, so we don't have the backup that we had. Now, the missing shed was returned, and happy to see that, and together to store the styrofoam. They haven't found out now, I haven't found out yet what happened to the container that we had in the first place, and I'm still asking the same question. And I also want to tell you that I went to a meeting in River Edge, sponsored by the Sustainable New Jersey, and this was a meeting of volunteers and environmental chairpersons of North Jersey. It was in the River Edge Library this month, and the topics were styrofoam recycling, and that Ridgefield and Ridgewood have purchased a $10,000 machine that compresses styrofoam into like a toothpaste, and it's a substance. It's like a substance of toothpaste. And to date, 1,000 pounds have been collected, and is. And it can be purchased for 15 cents a pound, which they don't really make much money on it. So I used the mayor, and I asked the mayor and council to purchase this machine for Oradell Styrofoam Recycling Program. And it will save space, and it will. We won't have to go and pay the other towns, and we'll have our own. And also, there was a legislation pending, which is S3147, for a 10-cent return bottles and cans deposited on purchase and return for collection of the 10 cents. Now, these are the topics that were talked about at the meeting. I asked the question about water fountains, and in their towns, how the water fountain situation is, and it's not good. They're not fixing their water fountains, and they're not repairing them. Just like we haven't had ours repaired yet. So if not, I think that we should see if we could get a grant. And if not, maybe we can encourage some kind of legislation for grants to be distributed for water fountains in all of North Bergen, in all of Bergen County. It's like an epidemic. Nobody wants to fix the water fountains. So I was very surprised to hear that when I asked the question. Also, there's another bill, S2446. It's going to be for composting of food, and it's at a hub collection site to establish composting pits. They would like each town to participate in this. I don't know how Oradell will allow us to participate in that. I think it's very challenging as far as composting. The other thing I didn't ask in the beginning of this, and I see that I have some time, which is great, because it talks fast. Now, the topics for the closed session tonight, I'd like to hear from what that was. And I don't know if you're going to say it now or you're going to say it later. It's fine with me as long as you say it. Yeah. No. Okay. All right. The only other thing I have is to comment on Ordinance 2413, which does not specify that loading zones prohibit idling of trucks when delivering their products. Is there a provision for this? Should we add that provision to it? The other one is Ordinance 2414, Schedule A. There should be a third column showing what the actual amount is for at present. There is only a low and a high column in the ordinance, and it shows the range that doesn't tell us what the actual present amount is. And I think that's more important to us than just seeing the range when we're looking at it. We want to know what's really going on as far as the salaries are going. And I thank you so much. I do have something else which I don't have the time to read. And this is from the Bergen Hub proposed mission and vision statement, and I will submit it to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Anybody else from the public wish to comment on non-agenda items? If not, I'll look for a motion to close to public comment on non-agenda items only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we'll look for a motion to open it back up for agenda items only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Anybody care to comment on any of the items on tonight's consent agenda? Seeing none, I would ask
Motion to
for a
close
motion to
public.
close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Before we get into correspondence, the borough engineer is a little overbooked tonight, so I'm going to give him an opportunity to offer his report at this time so he can get to his next meeting. And if anybody has any questions for him, I would raise them now before he departs, please.
Sure. No, just one thing. Maybe you can address the Beechwood blockage status.
Sure, we'll talk about it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. So quickly updating you guys on a couple items. So the marginal road sewer repair, I think we had discussed last meeting. The replacement of the pipe was successful. We were able to get in and clean and televise and get the final lengths for ordering of the pipe lining. As of now, the date for the pipelining is scheduled for August 26th. It will be a one-day adventure by the contractor. It will be a long day because once they start the process of lining the pipe, they need to complete it and get everything set before reopening the sewer line to all the waste that runs through it. So it's it'll be about a 16 to 18 hour shift for the guys, but they're ready to go as soon as the material comes here. And as we get a little bit closer, we'll update on the date if something slides as far as the material. As it relates to the concrete work that we did related to handicap ramps, the work has been completed by the contractor, and we're working with PSC&G as we speak to get the actual date for the paving, but we're looking to get that in the near future, hopefully in August, but it may slide potentially till September depending on scheduling. But we are working as best as we can to get them here before school starts. With related to the Beechwood stuff, we'll need to talk further amongst the capital improvements team just to see what we need to do with that, dust off the shelf on that, and just discuss that a little bit further. As far as the blockage,
Before you get off that topic, can you brief Mr. Hines and I and Councilman Kern, perhaps tomorrow or the day after?
Sure.
I'd like to get back to Mr. Kelleher, but I need to understand the situation first.
yeah, I'm happy to do so.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
No problem. So we'll update you on that stuff and talk further on that.
Right,
So,
thank you.
other than that, those are the main items that I have this evening. Does anybody have any questions?
Signage on Grant.
So there was more mix-ups with the contractor. He can't seem to read plans. So he was going to install large foundations for what just needs to be more or less a sign getting mounted. So He was circling back with his sign guy to get the actual date, and we should have that soon. So I apologize for the delays, but
Soon as in before school starts? Or?
that's what we're pushing for. That's what we're pushing for.
Okay, so am I, so
Yes.
please,
Yep.
thank you.
No problem.
Anybody, anything else for the borough engineer before he departs? Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good
Good night.
evening.
Thanks. Okay, Laura, can you read the correspondence into the record, please?
Yes, the first item is a notification from the New Jersey DOT regarding our status on the 2024 Safe Routes to School program application. And number 2 is the June Oradell monthly police report.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the adoption of minutes. We were distributed minutes for the July 16th, 2024 meeting. Does anybody have any comments, questions?
I have one correction, and my apologies because I just got back from vacation. Laura, on one of the prior minutes approvals, it was introduced by Ted and seconded by Ted.
Okay,
If
I'll
you
go
just-
back and
it
take
was
a
only
look to
one of
see
them.
which one it was. Okay,
But I don't think that'll go over too well.
right,
He's
just
not
got
Bugs
it.
Bunny first base, second base.
Got it.
Is that for the July 16th meeting, Roger?
I don't remember the exact one.
I'll take a look
sorry.
through everything that
All
was.
of them were correct,
Yeah.
except one was both fellow.
I'll take a look.
Okay. Any other comments on
Oh, yeah, obviously, because it's July 16th.
minutes of July 16th?
Yeah.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Any member of the council wish to have an item pulled for separate discussion or separate vote?
208, please, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Hearing no further questions, I would entertain a motion to approve resolutions 24-194 through 24-207.
So moved. Second.
We have a roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Carnival,
Yes.
Mr. Staff,
Yes.
Mr. Tashian,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Gullo.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we'll entertain the approval of resolution 24-208. Mr. Tashton, you wanted this pulled for separate discussion.
Just separate vote, please.
Separate vote. Okay. So we have a motion to adopt resolution 24-208.
So moved? Second?
Thank you. We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Carnival,
Yes.
Mr. Staff. Oh,
Yes.
geez.
Your 5 minutes are up, Ms.
My
Graham.
5 minutes are up. I should have turned it off. I'm sorry. Mr. Tashian,
Due to a conflict, I need to abstain.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Gullo.
Yes.
Thanks. Let me turn this up.
Okay. Thank you. Next on to committee reports. Paul, the items discussed in close were potential litigation. Potential litigation. That's what was discussed. Okay. Dave talked about the paving. We're working very diligently with PSE&G to get the area north of Soldier Hill Road paved before school. I do have hope in my glass is half full that that will get done on time and that it will not slip, but I'm going to remain positive about that one. I've convened a capital projects committee that's been meeting with DPW and the engineer prior to our council meetings to understand the status of various capital projects, both large and small, throughout the borough, as it seemed we needed some effort in that category to help move things along and be able to expend, especially grant money, in a appropriate time frame that were allotted. So we kicked off a meeting prior to our last council meeting. We've gotten a baseline, and we'll be working on a reporting mechanism going forward that will be available to council so you can see the status of where the various capital projects by location or department, who owns them, what's the value, what's the anticipated start, and so forth. Quick update on the affordable housing legislation that the state is in the process of implementing. I've mentioned that the borough has joined with Montvale and other boroughs in filing suit in federal court. against the action and the way the state is implementing the program, not against affordable housing itself. I've been advised that Montvale is the lead town in the suit, has gone through their RFP process and has hired the attorney, King, Monish, and Collins. I have a Pascack Valley mayor's meeting tomorrow where I will see Mayor Gasali from Montvale, who's heading this effort, and I will get an update from him on how many towns he's up to with participation and how they're going to do this. I know he's going to appoint a steering committee of representatives from various municipalities that have joined the suit. If anybody here would like to be a part of that, let me know. I'll pass it along to him, and we'll be able to figure out how we can get some reporting on what the status of that effort is as it goes on. I am working and will release in advance of our next council meeting something new, holding quarterly town hall meetings. So this is more of an opportunity to have an informal discussion where people may come here to have a discussion or look for an answer. And because, as I explained before, we're trying to move the meeting as efficiently and effectively as we can to conduct the borough's business. This type of a quarterly meeting would be a more relaxed environment in which I may update those in attendance on certain items that came out of a council meeting or are other long-term objectives of the council, and an opportunity for a Q&A, sort of a forum for residents, business owners, and anybody else that has an interest. I haven't settled on exactly how I'm going to do this format-wise. I may ask other council members if they would like to participate. I may do a few on my own. I may have some borough staff in attendance, depending upon what it is I'm going to talk about at that quarterly town hall. I think, things either succeed or go very, very bad based on communication. So I want to be able to be out there and talking with the residents and the business community about whatever it is they want to hear. That's an appropriate forum to have those discussions versus at the council meeting where we need to be efficient. So more to come on that in September. I want to thank Councilman Gullo, Kelly Castro of our Special Events Committee, and my wife, Sam, for helping organize the watch party that was held at OPS. I'd also like to thank Superintendent Bozios from OPS. I think that we would have had a lot more people if Hesley was competing on that day. But nonetheless, I was still impressed with the amount of people that showed up to sit down and cheer on Team USA. And it was a nice event. We also talked to Superintendent Bozios about doing some more programming with school facilities for the borough's benefit. One of those things being the potential of movie nights going forward in the auditorium. So we'll be exploring opportunities like that. Lastly, I'm going to leave you a little bit of a teaser that I'm working with the administrator and our auditor and CFO on. We're hoping by the end of this calendar year that we will be able to accept electronic payments, that being payments of taxes, permits, and other things, your alarm fees, what have you. If you want to do an e-check, you want to do a credit card, everybody else is doing this except for us. The only thing we do are ACH withdrawals for your taxes. We'll be working on that. There are some steps that need to be undertaken in order to do that, but I hope that this moves the borough in the direction of leveraging technology to our benefit and the convenience of residents who may want to go on at whatever time of the day or night and apply for a permit and pay for it or pay for their dog or cat license. It's certainly a very convenient thing. So we're working with staff on that. I look forward to implementing that. Lastly, I want to thank everybody involved, Superintendent Albro, the Riverdale Board of Education, councilman staff, Chief Wicker, Councilman Gullo and Kern on the Public Safety Committee for taking a step in implementing this new program of having a Class 3 special law enforcement officer assigned to Riverdale High School. We're going to have conversations. We've been having conversations. We're going to continue to have them with the public school. I'm sorry to say this, but I think this is a thing that's necessary in this day and age, given all of the things that we see happening around the world not even country or state. I hope nothing ever comes to Oradell that requires these people to have to act. But I feel very comfortable saying that we've done things within our power to address an issue if the issue ever arises. It's the cheapest insurance policy we can ever buy to help effectuate response of law enforcement and first responders to the schools, which are very, very important to our residents because obviously our kids are there all day long. So I think this is a very beneficial program. This is not a, sort of a program where the police are looked at that they're watching people at the school. These officers are there to be integrated into the school community and become perhaps, one of the first people that a student may go to ask for advice or how to deal with something or have a problem. We believe it will be a very integral component to the community at Riverdale and hopefully at OPS in the future. And that is my report for tonight. Council President Carnaval, you have quite a dossier here.
I do, yes.
You've been very busy.
Thank you, Mayor. For the Administration Committee, the committee met on July 31st. We have just about completed the process for finalizing the salary increases for the non-union employees, and we will shortly be introducing an ordinance amendment as part of the process. We are continuing to address other areas from an organizational standpoint, including ensuring that we have a functional table of organization in place for each department, along with current job descriptions. With regard to the Ordinance Committee, the committee continues to work on various projects we have on the docket, and we are beginning to make some progress, as you will see tonight when we introduce a number of ordinances. And we're just going to continue to work on completing the outstanding projects. For the Planning Board, the board met on August 6th, where 2 soil moving applications were approved. The board also received an update from the Master Plan Subcommittee as we continue to prepare for the borough's upcoming re-examination project. The Zoning Board is scheduled to meet this coming Monday, August 19th at 7:30. And the Historical Committee has been very busy and has met several times over the past month. Unfortunately, I have not been able to attend all of the meetings, but the topics of focus have included participating in the borough's Family Day event, potentially publishing a photo book capturing some of the borough's key historical time periods, and as well leveraging social media as a vehicle to provide education and awareness around the borough's rich history. That's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
But we now have the ordinance part of it, so. All righty. I'd like to start by, for first reading, introducing Ordinance 24-10 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-10 by title only?
An ordinance amending Chapter 301-8 entitled Fees for Pet Licenses.
Do we have any explanation other than this is an ordinary annual exercise that we go through adjusting our fees?
Yeah, the only change actually is the addition of a $5 late fee. The licenses under the current ordinance expire on January 31st of each year. And if you're late, you're going to get hit with a $5 fee if this is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that Ordinance 24-10 be passed on first reading and published in the Monday, August 19th, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-11 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-11 by title only?
Ordinance establishing Chapter 291 of the ordinances of the Borough of Oradell to regulate privately owned salt storage.
Mayor, on that one, and if I could take the next one, because they're both state mandated ordinance and regulations. The first one is, and most towns don't, but shortly will have on their books an ordinance for private salt storage. It doesn't apply to the municipality or county. the purpose is to prevent, discharge or things along that nature if the salt is not properly stored. Again, the format's basically mandated by the state. The next thing, the stormwater management ordinance is also very similar. The state DEP mandated it, and it's essentially the format that they require. One of the changes in it, we have one already on the books, is that the New Jersey Administrative Code governs these specific regulations. So rather than every year, every town having to go through the minutia and change it, it incorporates by reference the New Jersey Administrative Code regulations. The one thing we added to it that the state has not objected to in other municipalities where we've done it is we've just added, to the extent Oradell has on its books provisions that are not inconsistent with it but might be better, they remain in effect. So we just put that kind of caveat in there. But again, those are both two state-mandated ordinances by the DEP.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-11 be passed on first reading and published in the Monday, August 19th, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashjian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 24-12 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-12 by title only?
An ordinance amending Chapter 234A entitled Stormwater Management.
We've already received the explanation for this.
So I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-12 be passed on the first reading and published in the Monday, August 19th, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashjian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-13 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-13 by title only?
An ordinance of the Borough of Oradell amending Chapter 280-24 entitled Loading Zones and Schedule 19, 280-45, which is incorporated therein.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir. So currently on the books, there's a Schedule 19 entitled Loading Zones. It's marked reserved, meaning that it was a placeholder. What this ordinance does was actually fill in some detail in terms of where loading zones would be permitted. The first one being the northbound side of Kinderkamack Road for about 125 feet running south from the intersection of Park Avenue and Kinderkamack Road. The next location is, again, on the northbound side of Kinderkamack Road, a small section right on the intersection of Kinderkamack Road and Church Street. It's my understanding these are two typical locations where they've kind of been used as loading zones, but it just has never been codified. The last one is, although there's signage there currently at the intersection of Elm Street and New Milford Ave, there is a sign that says loading zone. However, it's really not enforceable unless you codify it. So this would basically take what's designated as a loading zone and would be 450 feet, starting 50 feet north of the intersection of Elm Street and New Milford Avenue.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-13 be passed on first reading and published in the Monday, August 19th, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashjian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-14 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-14 by title only?
Salary ordinance, non-union, an ordinance to fix compensation of certain employees of the Borough of Oradell, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey.
Require any explanation? It's pretty
I
straightforward.
wasn't involved in that one, Mayor.
Well, it's.
I mean, do you want me to just...
Annually, the borough sets ranges by title for non-union employees. They do not represent the actual salary that an employee gets. That is handled separately, but this sets the range of compensation within which those titles can be compensated at.
And just to note, there is a resolution that's done to set the salaries specific salaries for specific employees by title after the ordinance is approved or at the same meeting.
I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-14 be passed on first reading and published in the Monday, August 19th, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-15 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-15 by title only?
An ordinance amending Chapter 55 of the Borough of Oradell Municipal Code entitled Special Law Enforcement Officers.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir. So currently, the borough has on its books 2 ordinances that relate to special law enforcement officers. One is Chapter 48, which is a very broad ordinance. It says that the borough can have special law enforcement officers in accordance with New Jersey state statutes. The other one, 55, which is the one that's subject of this, to amend it, that ordinance is an older one that at the time, my guess that it was enacted, New Jersey statutes only permitted a special law enforcement officer class 1. Currently, there's class 2 and class 3. So call it belt and suspenders or whatever. What this amendment is it just codifies 2 and 3, and which then also makes it consistent. 3 is really designated for the school type of situation that the resolution that was just passed a few moments ago. So that's essentially the change there, is that 55 will now also include Class 2 and Class 3 officers, and it mirrors the language in the state statute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-15 be passed on first reading and published in the Monday, August 19th, 2024 edition of the Bergen Record.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Safety Emergency Management Board of Health, Council and Staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to report this month, as Public Safety will meet at the end of the month, and the Board of Health is reconvening in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Library, Environmental Beautification, Riverdale and St. Joe's, and Economic Development, Councilman Tashjian.
Very similar report that due to the timing, the library meets tomorrow and environmental next week, so that'll be reported next meeting. Just one comment, though. Library is still targeting to be open before the school year. They're currently doing curbside pickup, but I will get an update from Dan tomorrow as to where the progress stands. And but as last I heard, they are still on target to open before the school year.
Yeah, I toured the library Monday morning with Mr. Hines and Superintendent Nywening. They've definitely have made a lot of progress towards completing the restoration. I've asked Dan to provide us all a 2-week look ahead as far as us being comfortable that they will hit that target, because we do need them to be open by the time school reopens. So they look like they're moving in the right direction, and hopefully we should receive that look ahead shortly. And if anybody has any questions, you reach out to Roger or Dan.
Great, thank you.
Finance and DPW, Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll take the DPW first. The committee hasn't met since July 15th. We're expecting to meet sometime this month. The only thing they have to discuss is that our trash collection contract, which we put out for bid, came back. There's only one company that answered the bid. That's our current company right now, our current contractor, Westfall. I know our CFO is just currently looking at the numbers to figure out if there are any increases or changes from our previous contract. However, as soon as we know those particular numbers, I will let council know and our CFO and get back to her and discuss those numbers, how it differs from the previous trash collection contract. I would also like to thank DPW that was prepared last week for the storms and torrential rainfall. I know that, we never know what the end result is for the extreme weather reports that we get, but I'm glad to say there was no major damage to any of the borough property, and that DPW and our superintendent were definitely watching closely during those storms. Now with finance, since the passing of the budget for this year, the only item that I had pending was for the audit from last year. Our CFO is waiting back on that particular audit. There will be an opinion and a recommendation. Once I get that information, I will share with council. Let's see. Other updates include our tax collection rate, which is currently 98.29%. And a reminder that the August 12th was the last day for the grace period for third quarter taxes. 110 property tax delinquency notices went out just yesterday, and we have 2 properties with 2023 delinquency that are subject to a tax sale in October. One other final note is that the payment for the DPAC shared services agreement with the borough was approved after their last meeting with River Edge, the River Edge contract that is, and we should be receiving a $10,000 check soon. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilman Kern.
I actually have one question for Councilman Kern.
Sure.
Or actually just some feedback I had gotten. There was a comment for the post for the new water fountain at the playground. There still is no recycle bin on the playground.
Okay.
So if we could maybe work with Dan to find a spare one and put it there. I know there's a garbage can, but not a recycling can.
Thank you.
Shouldn't have a garbage can without a recycling can. In this day and age,
agree 100%.
Where there's one, there should be another.
Yep, agreed. So just, it was one comment. I meant to email you, John, but while we were.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Technology, Communications, and Recreation, Councilman Gallo.
No formal report this month because we did not meet. We will be meeting in September, but just 2 key dates to share. Sunday, September 22nd is Oradell Family Day. The rain date is Sunday, September 29th. And it looks like we have come to a final day for the Oradell 5K, which will be Saturday, October 19th. And that's it.
Thank you. Anybody have anything they would like to contribute under Councilwoman Harrah's report? If not, Mr. Hines, Administrator's report.
Just one short addendum to the report made by Mr. Kern is we received 1 bid. The bid is valid for 60 days. Our QPA, Mr. Bellucci, is doing a comprehensive report, which he's going to submit to the council. And the sole bidder was the present bidder, which has received, good support from the borough for 5 years. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Borough Attorney's report. Mr. Bailey.
Just briefly, Mayor, just happy to report Habitat for Humanity. The closing took place on July 23rd after our July 16th meeting. Everything went smoothly. And just to respond to a question Mr. Latunas had raised regarding idling, idling is governed by a state statute. It preempts any local ordinances. So essentially, the state statute permits idling for 3 minutes with certain exceptions. If cars actively being serviced or repaired, buses, commuter buses have certain exemptions and things like that. So just to answer his question, and that's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. If there's no further business to come before the Borough Council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
You're watching OPTV, Oradell Public Access Television.